Hi, Amy. How's it going?
Good, good. I'm honestly super excited to get to like hang out with you and chat and just kind of hear more of a glimpse of your life and your involvement with Athletes in Action today.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out and just excited to answer some of the questions you have for me and just excited for today.
Awesome. So first and foremost, can you just kind of introduce yourself?
Yep. So my name is Quinn Pallardy. I'm a senior on the softball team at the University of Dayton, and I lead Athletes in Action here on campus this year and super excited about the year. It's been going well so far. And yeah, a little bit about me there.
Awesome. So Quinn's at University of Dayton on the softball team. I'm wondering, Quinn, when you took that recruiting visit, what drew you to the University of Dayton?
Yeah, so recruiting process, as most athletes know, a complicated process. It's a lot of work to put in. You're a young high schooler just trying to figure out your next steps of your life, which is kind of crazy. But when I stepped foot on Dayton's campus, I just absolutely loved everything about it. I thought it was just a beautiful campus, perfect size. I'm super involved in my Catholic faith, and I really wanted to go to a Catholic university and seeing the chapel and just seeing um, how closely it is on campus. It's the center of campus, and I just felt like I could really grow my faith here. And I felt that the girls on the team really exemplified what it's like to be a follower of Christ, and I wanted to be surrounded by those teammates who have the same morals and beliefs as me. And yeah, it's a good distance away from home. I'm from Peoria, Illinois, just right outside of it, which is about 5 hours away from here. So far from home, but not too far that I can't, drive there for a quick weekend if I need. But yeah, I love everything about Dayton, and I'm super glad that God led me here. And it's my fourth year here, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, wow. I'm super glad that God led you here too. So Chicago Cubs fan, White Sox, like
Cubs fan for sure.
okay,
Yep.
sweet.
Yep.
Um, so I'm wondering if you could tell us more about. I'm also obviously you know this, but for those listening, I'm on staff with Athletes in Action in the 937 area code, which is the Dayton, Ohio area, and we have multiple campuses, UD being one of those. But I'm a former softball player at Wright State, right? The pastime, I would say, potential rival of UD.
Back in the
But I would
day.
love to hear more about when did you fall in love with softball? Why did you choose softball? Just some of your softball story. Was your dad your coach? Yeah, what was it about softball that made you want to play in college?
Yeah, so softball didn't come into my life until I was about 10, but prior to that, I was all things baseball. So, my dad did coach my T-ball league when I was like 4 or 5. And then I just absolutely loved baseball, and I actually played on an all boys travel baseball team when I was 8, and center fielder, and just had such a good time. One of my best guy friends at the time, him and I were on the same team. Um, and the coach like went up to my parents after our season ended, and he was like, you got to switch her over to softball, like she has to play softball. And when my parents sat me down and told me that, I cried. I was like, I don't want to play softball with all the girls. I love playing with all the guys, blah blah blah. But they're my parents, so they signed me up for softball the next season, and I played travel softball in my small town, Pekin, Illinois, which is right outside of Peoria. um Played there when I was 10, and just I actually ended up really loving it. And just love the way that I'm able to just kind of use my talents and gifts that God has given me, and just perform in a way that's fun. And yeah, and then so have played travel softball between 10 and 18. And yeah, I love performing. I love challenge, I love competition, and softball is just kind of a way that kind of an escape, and a kind of a way that I can communicate with God using my talents and gifts that He's given me.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. This would be a good time to kind of pull in a little unexpected audible here, Quinn, but to give
Oh
a shout
boy.
out to your fam. So I don't know how many brothers and sisters you have, but I'm sure that they would love to hear a little shout out. So can you tell us about just very briefly your fam and kind of your brothers and sisters and um,
Mhm. Yep. No, talking about my fam is hard to keep it brief because there are six of us. So I'm the fifth out of six kids. And yeah, all of my older siblings, they were involved in some sort of like high school sport or whatever. But I was the first, the fifth child, and I was the first who actually did like travel softball and ended up playing softball in college, obviously. And so there's three boys, three girls, evenly split. My little brother actually just turned 18 2 days ago, and then my second oldest brother just turned 25 yesterday. So yeah, shout out to them. Love them a lot, miss them a lot. Excited to see them when I go home for breaks. And my parents have been such a huge and amazing support system. Both exemplify what it's like to be a Catholic person and a Catholic person in this world today. And I can't thank them enough for putting me through Catholic education and who have introduced me to just what it's like to be a daughter in Christ. So very grateful for my family, and they've given me so many amazing opportunities, and I'm just so grateful for them.
That's awesome. We're going to take a short turn, and then we're going to get into more of your spiritual journey, which I think is going to be very inspirational for those that are listening. So we're going to do the speed round.
Alrighty.
Quinn's favorites. So let's go ahead and start the speed round before we get into more of your testimony. So Quinn, favorite place to vacation?
So do I have to answer these like super quick or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so again, played travel softball, so it wasn't a lot of vacationing happening. The vacation was wherever we traveled to play softball. Favorite trip, Denver, Colorado.
Nice. The mountains, I like that. So, favorite thing about Peoria, your hometown?
Definitely my best friends. Still talk to them every day to this day. And our favorite place to go back in high school was this little ice cream place called Emo's. Just our favorite time, ice cream with my best friends. Miss them a lot. Shout out to them. I hope they're able to get a chance to watch this. And yeah, can't wait to see them all hopefully soon. And yeah, just love those, my friends from high school.
Yes. Favorite sports memory?
So this is actually back in Colorado, 16U, Peoria Sluggers Gold. Shout out to Coach Gass and the whole team there. So we made it to the top 12 out of 96 teams that year, and it was just an incredible tournament. And I just remember playing my heart out with those girls, and just such an amazing time. And I think that's when I really realized how excited I was to play softball in college.
Yeah, that's exciting. Favorite book or podcast?
Favorite podcast would be Whoa, That's Good, Sadie Robertson. Sadie Robertson Huff now. And just absolutely loves what she does is she asks and interviews people what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given. And it's Christian related, faith related usually. And yeah, she's just such a good inspiration and such a good example of what it's like to be a Christian in today's world.
Cool. Yeah, definitely recommend to follow Sadie's podcast for sure.
Yes, definitely. Shout out to you, Sadie.
Yes, we'll have to tag her on this. Favorite movie or show right now?
So right now, I haven't been watching too many movies or shows. We're finishing up fall ball right now, but I do in my like 10 minutes I get to watch of Netflix a day, have been watching Friday Night Lights.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, couple more. Favorite coffee shop?
So I think that you would expect me to say Toasty Roasted here on campus, but I've actually started to really like Ghost Light, which is a little bit further of a drive. It's only like a 5-minute drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, love the vibe at Ghost Light.
Yeah, that's more downtown, isn't it? Or
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Light, yeah. And then last one is your favorite walk-up song or your current walk-up song, either way.
My favorite one was my walk-up song last year. I Feel Good, James Brown, and it starts off, I feel good. Best one. It just puts me in the best mood.
Love it. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and transition to some questions about your spiritual life and what it's been like for you to lead athletes in action on campus and lead a discipleship group, be discipled by teammates. So would you share a little bit with us about when and how? You mentioned your Catholic upbringing, right, with your family. And I remember meeting you your freshman or sophomore year in college and hearing more of that backstory. But in your journey through college, like when and how did you become a Christ follower? Like connecting your upbringing to your experience in college?
hmm I would say I'm just super grateful for Athletes in Action because it gave me such a safe space to be able to make my faith my own. As most people experience, if you come from a family of faith, going off to college, it's like, okay, it's no longer your parents waking you up to go to church in the morning or your parents saying, let's pray before meals. It's your own, and you have that own accountability to keep that relationship with Christ. And luckily, Athletes in Action showed me how easy that is to do. And luckily, University of Dayton being so accessible to the chapel and just so open about faith. Um, I would say freshman year having that support system, and then a couple of my teammates who were involved with Athletes in Action were like, "Hey, you should come to Athletes in Action. You would love it. Like it would be a good time." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure." And little freshman year, Quinn showed up, and she was like, "Wow, these college kids really they just really know what it's like to be a follower of Christ, and I want to be like that too. And I want to make my faith, like I said, I want to make it my own and continue to grow my relationship with Christ. And I'm just very lucky and grateful for the student athletes who were older upperclassmen at the time, who led AIA and who mentored and discipled me when I was a freshman.
Mm, yeah, love it. Going into that a little bit, kind of leaning in there, it's been really sweet for me to see just the movement on the softball team at UD over the years. Like you were saying, like before you had shown up on campus, there were girls that were like, we really want to follow Jesus, but kind of feel alone in that. Like, what does it look like to really bring some teammates in with us and invite them in, challenge them to say, what's it look like for us to follow Jesus together? And that's where they really began to start this discipleship group idea. And so that's what Athletes in Action, a big part of what we're about, right, is looking for a Christ follower in every team on every campus. But how can we on the UD softball team find the Christ followers and really help equip them to learn to lead a discipleship group and help their teammates grow in their faith as well and do life together. So would love to hear more from you about who discipled you in college. I know it's not super clear cut. We've got the
Mhm.
organized discipleship, right? It's the weekly discipleship group. And then we've got the organic, which is more life on life. And so could you share a little bit more about maybe a couple or a few of the girls that poured into you and just how they impacted you, maybe in unique ways?
Definitely, yeah. So, you, Amy, definitely have been such a huge part of my life, and discipling me here, at University of Dayton. And then a couple of my teammates, Liv Lessman, Lily Niesel, Megan Giss, Briley Sider. So many of my teammates have just been such a good example of how to be a follower of Christ. And they just really brought me in freshman year and just showed me how fun a relationship with God is and how you can have this community of followers of Jesus, and they're amazing, and they're all older than me, so they're all graduated, and they left me. I'm just kidding, but they're off doing just such incredible things, and I wouldn't be the person I am today without those girls, and I miss them a lot. I text them, and I'm just like, can you come back to Dayton? Come on, one more year. But no, I miss them and I love them, and they have just really exemplified just how cool a relationship with God is. And, coming in as a freshman, that's scary, not knowing if the upperclassmen are going to be receptive to kind of like your lifestyle and if they're going to be involved with their faith too. And God bless me with just such amazing friends. And I, again, just love those girls so much. I can't say enough amazing things about them.
Yeah, what is I remember you guys like I was at a softball game and I thought, what are they saying in the outfield? I think Briley
Yeah.
might have been a part of that outfield group. Can you
Mhm.
just share with us how you took even what you learned or discussed? I think you were studying the book of James, just to give you some
Mhm.
context, how you took that and really brought it onto the field, even to help bring, your relationship with God into your sport. Can you tell a little bit
Mhm.
about that?
Of course, yeah. So I think this was my sophomore year. We were going through the book of James in discipleship group, and the topic was just about how putting like fear of God in a way that's in awe of God, and just understanding. There was one line that Briley read, and she was like, I read this, and like I just realized like how small I am in comparison to God, and like how we can glorify him and honor him, and like if you mess up, if you fail, like you small, like who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, God's got you. And we just started dying laughing. Like, the way she said it, Briley is so good at, like, breaking apart scripture and, like, making it just like, this is what this says. Like, isn't that cool, sort of thing? And so, she started this, like, you small saying. So, in the outfield, we would just, anytime we make a mistake or anytime we just need someone to laugh a little, we started saying, like, you small. Like, if you make a mistake, doesn't matter. Like, don't get so worked up. Don't have all this anxiety and pressure about your next at bat. Like, you small. Like, I don't know if that made any sense, but yeah, some of my two favorite words, you small.
You small. I love that. Yeah, here is I was just looking up the verse that you're referring to, James 4. I'm assuming it's James 4:6 says, "But he gives more grace. Therefore, it says, God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble." In the
Hmm.
sense of like being humble is seeing ourselves the way that God sees us, which we're incredibly loved, incredibly valuable, right? And in the midst of that, compared to God, we're really small,
Hmm.
right? The sense of like we're not all that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that, Quinn. So let's go
Shout
ahead.
out, Briley.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that's been fun for me to see, just the way that the girls that have come ahead of you have poured into your life. It's looked
Hmm.
very unique and very different for each of them,
Yeah,
from Liv to
definitely.
Riley to Lily to Megan, and I love that you guys have developed such good friendships that
Hmm.
even though the rhythms of life are not the same, you're in a college, right, space, a couple of them are in grad school, a couple of them, have jobs, and are working women now,
Hmm.
but just that those friendships in Christ really last beyond college, which is really
Hmm.
sweet. So, lastly, would love just to hear what it's been like for you to seeing the girls graduate and recognizing ahead of time, like, I want to learn and be equipped how to lead my girls spiritually, lead a discipleship group on the team, help lead AI on campus. Like, what have been some challenges with that? What has been like a highlight, or just what has that been like for you to get to a point that you feel a little bit more prepared, and are doing that?
Hmm. Definitely. So, like I said, I've just been discipled, and the AIA leaders at my time here have been just incredible and amazing, and have really opened up this space during Athletes in Action, the big group meetings, and in discipleship group. They've just really opened up this space for me in my time at Dayton. That's been so welcoming and so amazing, and they just share so much knowledge. And I think what's been challenging for me is that I want to live up to how well they left campus and how well they left Athletes in Action. They left it in such good hands each year. And so for me, I feel like I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I want to live up to that, and I want to make it better each year. And I think for me, not to compare myself to how they led, but also make it my own as well. And just having that authentic conversation with people every week. Like I said, I'm leading this year, and for me, it's so nice that I was discipled by such amazing people, because I still have my notes from when I was a freshman, going through those meetings, and so kind of looking back at those and remembering the topics we talked about and how I can make some of those topics my own, and how we can welcome the newcomers this year, and be able to just again open up this space that's so welcoming for everyone who is new to Dayton this year. So that's been a challenge, because each week I'm like, oh my gosh, I want tonight to be so good. I want to make sure that everyone gets something out of it. Um, and oftentimes, like, I will have this whole plan and this whole list of discussions that I want to have, and then it takes a turn, and people really want to focus on one question of that night. And what's so cool about AIA is, like, you ask a question and one person answers, oh, this is what I thought about this passage, blah blah blah, and then someone's like, yeah, repeating what he or she said, like, I also thought this, and then the conversation just flows, which is so amazing from a leadership perspective to see that unfold, and just to see people be so open and honest and vulnerable about how they took a certain passage and how they're applying that to their life, maybe their struggles on the field or with their sport, and even outside of their sport, with their life, with their school. Just kind of hearing what everyone is going through and how they remember to center their eyes on Christ has been so cool to see from a leadership perspective, even though I do kind of struggle a bit, just wanting to live up to just how amazing I have been led in the past.
Yeah. What's a highlight? How Thanks for sharing the challenge.
Of course,
That's
yeah.
super real, and I'm sure there's a lot of athletes who are like, I feel the same way, right? And it's
Mhm.
not on us, but it's so natural to feel that pressure of wanting to be, just as impactful as those that came ahead of us. What would be a highlight, kind of just like where you see God at work in the midst of that?
Um, highlight. Man, this is a tough one. I mean, I feel like every week is just so good. And I would say a highlight is man, this one's stumping me.
It's all
I
right.
think again, just like having that like openness and people so willing to talk has just been so cool. And seeing those conversations unfold has been such a highlight because when I leave AIA for the big group meetings, I just feel so much at peace and just so grateful for how each person had shared that night. And yeah, so it's been a great year so far. I actually had a conversation this morning with Sam and Bree and Ellie Ty, shout out to cross country, just about some of our goals for the rest of the semester and what next week meeting is going to look like. And yeah, just excited to continue to grow this year.
Yeah, that's really cool, Quinn. Well, I just want to finish out by saying, like, thank you so much for saying yes and saying yes to Jesus, right? Like, just seeing God at work in your life. I know that meant a lot for the girls that were leading your discipleship group as they were praying, like, God, give us girls on our team that want to grow in their faith. But then also a year ago saying yes to, like, I want to be able to grab that baton, from the girls that are graduating and be that person for the girls that are coming in as freshmen. And so thanks for being an example. There's a verse, I'll just close with this. It's in First Peter 5, and it basically says, like, as you shepherd people or lead people well, there's three qualities, and one says to do it willingly, the second is to do it eagerly, and the third is being examples to the flock, being examples to those that we're leading. And you, honestly, Quinn, you're doing all of those. And so
Thanks, Amy.
just really appreciate you and our friendship. So looking forward to
Likewise,
seeing
yeah.
you soon.